Hello and welcome everybody. This is the Mo Show on Rock M Radio. I am your host, Chad Moller. This is my show where I talk about the Tigers and bring you special guests from all over. Took a bit of a break last couple months of the summer after about 6 episodes to get started, but back and ready to go for the season. So I do appreciate you jumping back in with me. This is episode number 7. So again, I'm grateful to have you alongside. So I'm real excited to introduce my next guest. He was one of the big early in-state recruits for Coach Gary Pinkel in the program, and he chose to stay home to be a Tiger when he could have went to a lot of places. But he ended up as one of the top running backs in Mizzou program history, and he ended his career with consecutive 1,000-yard seasons on the ground. And of course, he'll always be remembered for his record-breaking, amazing Cotton Bowl in 2008, when he ran for 281 yards and 4 touchdowns, both Cotton Bowl records that still stand. And he outshined a couple of running backs from the Arkansas Razorbacks that most people were focusing on going into the game, in Darren McFadden and Felix Jones. But of course, you know who I'm talking about. It's Tony Temple. Tony and I had a great time catching up, and I hope you enjoy our visit. So without further ado, here is number 22 himself, Tony Temple. There he is, everybody. Tony Temple, number 22 in your program, but number 1 in your hearts, of course. So it's so great to see Tony, and thanks, my friend, for taking the time to join the Mo Show on Rock M Radio. Great to see you. I know we've been able to stay in touch, and we'll probably talk about that in a little bit, but tell everybody what you've been up to. It's hard to believe it's been 17-ish years since you last carried the rock for the Tigers. So tell us about your life since your days as a Tiger.
Well, Chad, thanks for having me. Obviously, Rock M Radio. Appreciate being a guest here too today. But very simple. Being a former athlete, it has been very conducive for my life to stay into the wellness industry, and that's exactly what I've done. Is try to stay fit, try to stay mentally healthy. Been blessed to be in a company, Temple Made Fitness, for the last 8 years, where now we do corporate wellness training for adults as well as youth programming. So that has been our biggest focus right now, especially post-pandemic, making sure we create high-quality wellness programming for kids. And it's been awesome. It's been very rewarding. Just kind of taking some of the knowledge from even my playing days at Mizzou with Dr. Pat Ivy, and learning just so many breakthrough things that we even tested with our athletes in my playing days, and still implementing that to our youth in what we're doing.
Well, and I've been able to see a little bit about a little of what you're doing with the kiddos, and it's great work. And the company I work for, Veterans United Home Loans, so we have a foundation that has gotten involved with your foundation a little bit, just to provide a little bit of support. Hopefully we can continue to do more and more for you. But tell people about the foundation you do for the kiddos.
Yeah, I'm a part of a foundation that serves the same mission, is making sure that we can create equitable change within our community through the wellness space. And you're right, your organization has been so great for us, and that's exactly what our focus is. How do we connect corporate wellness with our community through movement? How do we get more community partners engaged with our kids and our organizations? And we host an annual event at the zoo where we have over 2,500 kids and 40 vendors and organization that supports us. And it's just such a great resource day for our families and our kids to receive so many free products and so many free services that are given, and as well as a built-in movement center at the zoo where they can just have a heartfelt emotional attachment to just not only the zoo, but adding a little fitness and movement as well. So it has been a really awesome deal, working with our school districts, working with community centers, and again, just being an ally to just help some of those organizations out, and get them moving, get them well, get their minds right.
That's awesome, man. Hey, if people want to learn more about what you're up to with the kiddos or Temple Made Fitness, how do they find out information?
Yeah, please just check out our website, templemadefoundation.org. That's where our foundation does some of the heavy work. Please get involved by just learning more, volunteer, sharing suggestions or what you think we could do or how you can help. And just to learn more about the corporation side, that's Temple Made Fitness. And there's just some cool pictures, some cool testimonies too, to just kind of show our work. And more importantly, you'll see so many smiles on kids' faces. And that's what we're in the business for, is making kids happy.
You got it. Great stuff. Well, hey, and this is in the Kansas City area, of course. That's where Tony's from, where he grew up and came to Mizzou from Rockhurst High School. The gridiron power. Tigers didn't have a ton of guys from Rockhurst, and you kind of set the curve there. So tell us. I don't know. Let's just go back to your recruiting days and the journey you had there. What led you to Mizzou? Because I know there were a lot of schools after you, and a lot of coaches wanted you carrying the ball for them. But to all of our benefit, you chose Mizzou, and tell us why.
Wow, what a unique experience in high school that I had opportunity to go through, especially with the recruiting side. But even starting in my early playing days, I thank God for my father just believing in me somehow or setting me up for success. Where when I was younger, I always played 2 years, 3 years above my age group, and a lot of that was because of my weight, just being overweight as a big kid and wanting to still have the opportunity to run the ball. Back in our day, we had a weight limit, so in order to run the ball, you had to be a certain weight, and so in order to make that happen, I had to play up. And I remember my days, which I mean, really developed me playing at a young age, playing against older kids, obviously. But I remember I kind of got, integrated with the private school sector. And in sixth grade, my dad wanted me to play with eighth graders. And I remember Coach Bill Hayden at the time just thought my dad was nuts. He thought he was crazy. And I remember we picked up our pads during the summer, and he looked at me in my eyes. He said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And my dad was like, "Answer for me, yes." And I just shook my head. And I remember our first day of practice, I end up I think we finally got an opportunity to hit after 3 days of practice. I forgive me, and I broke someone's collarbone. I gave someone a concussion, and he was like, "Okay, all right." He's got what it takes, and so just really through my time, sixth to eighth grade playing up, I was already ready for the opportunity to play as a varsity student. And at that time at Rockhurst has been around since 1912, and there was no freshman that ever had the opportunity to play varsity football. And legendary Coach Severino kind of heard about me, but wasn't too caught up on the hype of some incoming eighth grader that was going to have any type of impact on his programming. And, when you're out of the district or you're coming from a public school system, you have to go to summer school at Rockhurst to, make sure that your grades and that you can be on the right standard. And I'll never forget, I saw him in a parking lot as an eighth grader. And I said, "I'm going to play varsity football for you this fall." And he kind of just laughed at me and said, "Just get your grades, focus on getting in here and we'll see." And in that same breath, he invited me to run 40s with the upperclassmen. And I came back. I couldn't drive. I had to have a buddy, take me to practice for our workouts. And to his surprise and to everyone's surprise, I ended up running 3 4 4s at that time. And that kind of just blew his mind, that this incoming freshman was running at that speed. And he gave me the A-OK to come out for practice. And it just kind of started from there. It just kind of snowballed. It was just kind of natural for me to use my speed as a tool. And honestly, I think I was running for my life, being a freshman, not wanting to get hit by the seniors, but using my speed as a tool to just really, set myself apart. And that freshman year was a very successful year. I never started one game, but lapsed over 1,000 yards, had 20 plus touchdowns. We had an undefeated season, state champion, and I think that kind of started the hype. And I think I remember after my first game, I received my first full ride. It was from the University of Missouri. And so right there, I was like, oh my goodness. And obviously being a freshman and really not even grasping how, big a deal this was to get a full ride as a freshman. But I was like, wow, this is really cool. So Mizzou was always, they had my heart space of being that first offer.
Who else did you? I can't remember. Who else did you give fair consideration to other than Mizzou if you hadn't come our way? I can't remember.
Yeah, so during my freshman year, I think at the end of that season, I had over 50 offers at that time. And
Okay.
as we kind of went through, the course of my 4 years, I think I got it narrowed down to K-State, Tennessee, Michigan, USC. Those are the days of Reggie Bush, and
Oh yeah.
I was a huge follower of him, and University of Missouri. So K State, they had Darren Sproles there, who I actually grew
Yeah.
up playing football with. So that almost was a natural fit too, as well, and all the great work he did with Snyder. And Michigan and Tennessee, those names were just very prominent at that time. So they were very, very high, on my list of where I wanted to go. Um, I think a lot of those schools knew I wanted to stay local, just with my local presence and the hype that I was already receiving way before NIL deals, but the hype that I was receiving. So they kind of knew that I was probably going to stay in that, Kansas, Missouri sector.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we're really pleased that you did, and yeah, you mentioned NIL, and man, I shake my head, at what you guys could have. I mean, somebody like you said, with the presence you had for such a long time in this state, in the area, what that could have done for you. But I'm glad the kids now are getting some kind of compensation for their name, image, and likeness, and the effort they put out there. So I'm sure you are too. You're glad to see it.
Yeah, more than anything, the kids deserve it. Yes, we're student athletes, but it's a commitment. Being a college athlete is 100% commitment on and off the field, being a student athlete. And until you really walk those shoes, which they probably should do more documentaries and more, real life experiences what kids are really going through, and not being able to go home, and they just deserve it. This is their first opportunity to have a somewhat real job, working for a corporation essentially, with all what is required for them. And so I'm just so excited for them and all those athletes. And even in the lower D1, D2, D3s, even in those lower schools too, as well, just getting that space to be able to profit for all the hard work that they put in even before college.
You bet. All right, so you come to campus freshman in 2004, right? Um, Brad Smith's kind of the face of the program at that point. Tigers had just in 2003 gone to a bowl game for the first time under Coach Pinkel and his staff. A lot of excitement, and you come on board, and first year didn't go as well as we had all planned. Kind of took a little bit of a step back, but um, and you actually got in. What, your first game you played, was it at Nebraska? Is that right?
It was. It was at
That sound right?
Nebraska. The black shirts. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and that was late in the season, and I know there was a lot of talk about whether people felt that should have happened or not, and all that. But it's just so interesting to look back because the rules have changed since, where guys can play what, as many as 4 games and still maintain a redshirt season, of eligibility. So unfortunately, that didn't work for you, or maybe fortunately, maybe you were done by the time 2007 came around. But it's fun to think that you could have been with us for one more year if that rule had been in place back then.
Yeah, and wanted to just. I always try to make that very clear. That is something that I really wanted to do, and just even my freshman year, that was such a tough situation that we were put
Yeah,
in. And I think from a personal standpoint, when I came out of school by ESPN, I was ranked number 2 in the nation behind Adrian Peterson. And if anybody remember what Adrian did when he came on the scene for Oklahoma, it was just mind blowing. And
well,
I felt like I had that same type of talent too, as well, just to kind of show my skills. And, did not it just wasn't the time, honestly, because as we really think about it, we had some great running backs. We had Damian Nash, we had Marcus Woods, we had some great people that were ahead of me that offered so many great leadership to me that could just show me those ropes. And if you can have talent that you can kind of keep for next year, now that I kind of understand how this works, that was probably one of the best decisions. But I mean, we did get to the opportunity where we could have competed, to be in that Big 12 North. And sometimes you got to do what's best for the team. And I think Coach Pinkel, that is something he prides himself. Whatever we can do to help the team wins, that's what he wants to do, to put the right people in position to do that. And they felt like I was ready at that time. I mean, I thought I was ready at that time too, as well. And unfortunately, just had a bad high ankle sprain that just came out of nowhere. But yeah, just thinking back at it, I still don't think it was the wrong move. It motivated and inspired me. Being injured and just even learning how college sports are, that is a part of it. Treatment, getting hurt, it's not if, it's when you're going to get hurt and when you're going to go through that process of it. So again, I was blessed with playing with players like Brad Smith, where I saw him in treatment day in and day out, just setting the precedence of what that looks like and how to take care of your body before it was even a thing. I mean, Brad added that to his routine nonstop. And so, that really set the stage for me of what I would do in the off season to make sure I was always prepared. And, I really give a lot of credit to Coach or Dr. Pat Ivy and his staff. We call it the Strength Coach Mafia. They got our players and got everyone ready to compete. And I think not only we saw that in the Big 12, but even in our transition in SEC.
Dear Rock M Plus listeners, readers, and subscribers, we are thrilled to announce our first ever digital Mizzou football preview magazine. Inspired by the iconic newsstand staples like Athlon, Bill Steele, and Street and Smith, our team has created a PDF file jam-packed full of content for you to learn about the most anticipated Missouri football season maybe in history. Checking in at about 100 pages, we have in-depth previews of all 12 opponents, analysis of each position group, profiles of newcomers, exclusive photographs, features like a retrospective on the 2014 team, the evolution of Faurot Field, Luther Burden's place in Mizzou history, and more. We also have an analytics Q&A with Bill Connolly of ESPN, the founder of RockM. We also have college football preview content and much more. This digital magazine is available now. It is $15 for purchase, with discounts available for premium RockM Plus subscribers based on your membership tier. $10 for monthly members, $5 if you have an annual membership. Now is the time to become a member to secure your discount on this one-of-a-kind product today. We know that you're going to love this magazine, and we can't wait to have it on your devices. MIZ.
So we'll go to 2005, your sophomore season then. It was kind of cool. Your first career touchdown came in Arrowhead Stadium in your hometown against Arkansas State. Do you remember that one?
I do. I do. It was a huge deal, it was one of my dreams to play into a NFL stadium in front of my hometown. And again, it was almost like my coming out party again, my sophomore year. So it was just such a cool experience, being with my team, getting the win too as well, and just kicking off that sophomore campaign. And it was that was just such a learning curve for all of our whole team, and deciding how we're going to make the decision, who we're going to be. I think we were still trying to figure out who are the Mizzou Tigers, and are we going to be led by the narrative of the past? Are we going to be led by even our coaches? And I think that's a slippery slope to be led by the coaches. But at the end of the day, the players make the decision, and we didn't figure that part out yet, that we had control of our destiny and where we were going to go. We were still trying to figure out what is our space in the Big 12 and who we wanted to be. And so that sophomore year campaign really was a special one, I think, personally, for our whole entire team and our organization.
Yeah, and I think one thing Coach always talked about was he feels like when the program really started taking off is when the players started taking, more of the ownership, the leadership. They put it on themselves. Like you said, You can't just be coaches yelling at you what to do. It's got to come from in on your own, and the players. And it was just an evolution of the program, and then that led to even more success in 2006, and then of course 2007. We all know, that's a year that will live famously in Mizzou fans' hearts. The way the program grew. So, man, there was so much talent on those teams, both sides of the ball, all sides of the ball, but especially in offense. It's fun to think back. Um, did you ever feel not forgotten, but it was easy to get lost with all the talent that was on so many of those teams. I'm sure there had to be times when you're going, hey, I can do more, just give me a chance, right?
Yeah, of course. And I think now that's when you have to talk about the leadership. Coach Pinko and his staffing is to somewhat put these egos together and help them understand their role and what they're doing. And, something that you'll probably hear and probably from other athletes, do your job. And we pride ourselves of doing our job the best we possibly can. I would say Coach Pinko is one of the best managers of his team and his organization that you can ever wish for. We at first, I thought as we look back on it, we wanted that coach that was hands on, slap you on the helmet and just yell in your face. But Coach Pinkel wanted to keep his staff, the Coach Hills, the Coach Jones, the Eberflus, he wanted to keep them accountable to their players, knowing that they spent so much time together. And that is who he digged into, and which kind of worked in for us, where we respected Coach Jones. We wanted to be the best running backs that we possibly can to add to what we were doing in our team. And once we all develop that mindset of being the best we possibly can in our position, one play at a time, that is when it clicked for us. That's when it eliminated, like, we got the top recruits here, we got the top players there. It was like, whose time is it? Do your job. And when your number's called, you better be the best that you possibly can. And, that I think even, go back into that '06, that junior year, you start to see that. I think you even see it as soon as when Brad Smith went down in Iowa and Chase Dale comes off the bench and he comes in and I think we end up winning the game in overtime,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, who is this guy? But that wasn't a shock to us simply because we knew whenever it was time for our number to be called, we better be ready to perform and be at the highest level. So that was kind of engraved into us, that really by '07, it clicked for us. Do your job. And, again, not even rushing to the Cotton Bowl, but just, that game was an accumulation of everybody do their job and put pride aside. And whenever it's time to perform, let's do it. So I think we really, really embodied that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you mentioned 2006. That was your junior season. You had 1,000 rushing yards, and um, you ended it in style in the Sun Bowl. The result was a bummer for all of us as Oregon State nipped us in the end there, and a great game, but it was a fun game, back and forth, lots of offense. But man, you ran for, I have it down to 194 yards and 2 touchdowns, 20 carries. And then you look ahead to the next year, 24 carries against Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl, 281, a Cotton Bowl record, and 4 touchdowns. What was it about bowl games, man? You were just killing it.
Well, first and foremost, all players will agree with this. That month off where we get to relax, we get to recover, we get to practice. That is just so fundamental to bowl games, to really just recover with your body. And being honest, people made a game plan for our wonderful wide receiver crew that we had. They wanted
No.
to stop the chases. They wanted to stop the Rucks and the Kaufmans and the not. They wanted to stop them. And so the last thing they were thinking about is how powerful our running game could be at any time. And that offensive line on both sides, junior and our senior year, they were amazing. They were athletic. We were one of the first organizations and groups, teams that we were having a hurry up offense, and it was so quick and fast. So thinking about the condition that everyone had to be on, It was truly incredible, that hurry up offense that we pretty much put in style. And so, when bowl games came around, they were just shocked that the dynamics that we could have. And the last thing they wanted to do is get beat in the air. And it just really opened up so many lanes and so much opportunity for us to do. And you're right, that was a tough game. And even personally, I actually broke the Sun Bowl record in rushing that
That's right.
game. And one of the last plays, we we got a loss for two. It was like a blitz they blew in, and I lost 2 yards, and and they took the record away.
No.
And so that was pretty crazy, from a personal standpoint. But none of that stuff matters unless you get the W. And again, that was a huge turning point for us, is finishing what we start and making sure we take those games that we're so close to, or the ones we're supposed to lose, and not be the same old Mizzou, which was a thing. We wanted to win those games from here on out, and I think that's where you really saw that transition into that '07 season.
Yeah, I've talked to so many guys that say the same thing pretty much. It's just, it stung that that game went the way it did, but it really did set the stage for the off season leading up to 2007. Talk a little bit about, what you took on your shoulders leading up to 2007 and the other seniors, and what went into kind of building, leading up to that season.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, if you really dig into a lot of those athletes, starters, second team, third team, walk-ons, they're going to go back to that summer conditioning where we bonded together, and we started calling the shots. Instead of 21 tens, there were 24 110s. There was accountability on nutrition. There was accountability of playing catch with Chase and making sure that we showed up to all the 7-on-7s, making sure that all players were in weights, making sure that we were accountable to make sure we're bringing the best product on the field. And that off season, that bond that we put together, where we did not allow, we would call it weakness. We didn't allow any weakness to enter on that field. And it was bigger than us. It was bigger than the individual. It was even bigger than one game get to a bowl game. I mean, we didn't want to lose. We didn't want to lose. And we knew we were just as good or better than so many teams that were in our conference. And we just refused. We didn't care if it was an SC team. We played against the Ole Miss. We just did not care who was in front of us. We had all intentions to win. And we were led by a great leader. I think Chase D, he just had no idea the impact that he had of just his belief in himself, the coaches, and where he wanted to be with the University of Missouri. And just having a leader like that playing QB, it just resonates with everyone. And, I think personally for me, here I am. I, had the opportunity to start for the last couple of years, and potentially my very last year, which, I had no idea how that was going to go for me. I really wanted to start being a leader within my own group, even if it was, I was a captain with the running backs, and I just wanted to start setting standard, even if it was before we were practicing and we had to run our laps. I wanted to finish first. I wanted to stay extra with Coach Jones to look at film. I really started taking more accountability what it looked like for myself. I think I got up to 228 pounds, which was the biggest I've ever been. And so just hitting the weights and really just learning what it meant to be a college athlete for a big time program. And again, when that first game came, it was just, we were ready. We were ready. We were ready to go. And, unfortunately, like my senior year, I think I had a couple injuries that really set me back. Putting on so much weight, looking back on it, and being just the athlete I am, I was a real aggressive runner. Even though I was, quick and fast, I had no problem running over you or showing you my strength. And sometimes that played is a disadvantage for me. And I think I got injured on our Thursday night game against Nebraska, and which was a very one of the biggest games I would say for Mizzou, and just showing who we were and what we were about to do that
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
You know, that to me again, running into adversity and being able to overcome, which a lot of our athletes had to do. Whether you take a J-Mac with an ACL, you take a Denario, you take anyone, that had to do with adversity. How fast can we bounce back with adversity and get back and start being productive for our team? And yeah, that was a really amazing year. Unfortunately, I remember. I think that's why Pig got hurt that year too.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, with a freak accident with his Achilles. And I think that's where Coach Pinkel started adding. If we have leaders and we have seniors, they need to travel with us. Because I remember watching our first Oklahoma game, which was our first loss, and not being there with my guys and just experiencing that and being so close to beating them and just having one minor mistake take us out. And I'm so glad that Coach has, he started listening to his players so much more and in what was best. Even from we added Victory Sunday. Again, just every time we win, we didn't have to put on full pads, and we can just essentially just do a light practice. I think all of that was just so important to the dynamics, which changed the whole culture of Mizzou, is listening to your players, making sure that you're opening up space to hear about how our bodies are feeling and how our mental is feeling, and just having that trust with our coaches. Again, we wanted to do anything we possibly can when it was time to play on Saturday, Thursdays, whatever day it was. And so that was a very, awesome year. Obviously we made it to the Big 12 championship, and even that I'll never forget, tied up 14-14 going into half, and thinking again, there's no way we're going to lose this game. We're going to
Yeah.
figure it out. And Oklahoma had an amazing team. They were just a better team that day, and they got us. So, people still bring that up, but I don't know. That's still tough.
I wasn't going to visit that one with you. That's still painful for all of us who were part of it, and Tiger fans, I know. But hey, it doesn't take away from the year, certainly, and that kind of leads us to the Cotton Bowl, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time on that before I let you go. I'm sure people bring it up all the time. I don't know if you're tired of talking about the Cotton Bowl or not, but it was such an interesting dynamic from the team standpoint that we've had this amazing season, get all the way up to number one, have a Heisman Trophy finalist, all these awards for everybody in recognition, the programs, in the spotlight, and really taking a step up on the national stage, and something that you all built and had earned. And it was such a great season. And then, the championship game doesn't go our way, and you get kind of snubbed by not getting to the BCS game and the Orange Bowl, where most people thought we deserved to go. But I thought it was such an amazing job that Coach Pinkel and his staff did with you guys, and you guys took it on. You didn't let that diminish. You still had something to prove. I don't know if that was the way to put it, but I know you still had business to take care of, and you guys used that as motivation to make sure you came out in the Cotton Bowl and you were ready to go, and you basically wanted it more. So just talk a little bit about what the mindset was leading up to this game.
Yeah, to be honest with you, just sitting there, we watched how that was going to play out. I think we were together as a team, and we were disappointed. We thought that the week or a couple weeks before beating KU the way we did, and them having the nudge over us was, a slap in the face, so to speak. But again, the adversity that we went through, especially with that class before me, after me, there was no way in the world that we weren't going to go out and show our work and prove to them or anyone that we deserve to be really in the national championship. We wanted to put that type of performance that we're going to go out with a bang, especially for our seniors. Though, I mean, what an amazing class. the Lorenzo Williams, the Rucks, like those people dug so deep into us and just pushed us as young players. And, even technically I was a senior too,
Mm.
and we just did not want to go out the way people thought we should. So, um, that was interesting. And, my personal experience, as I deep dive a little bit in, I was banged up my senior year, if I'm being honest with you. And it was a point where I was almost tapped out. I was really tapped out my senior year. And, I think about a day before that game, that accumulation for me personally is what taught me truly how to be a team player, so to speak. And Coach Barry Odom at that time was there, and I remember, we had some young guys right behind me that got an opportunity to play, and I just didn't know, my body was banged up, and I didn't know my future, where I was going to go, if I was going to stay or have the opportunity, and my ankle just was not healthy at all, and you know I was checked out. I was really checked out before the game, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know this, and um, I'll never forget. I asked to like go home. I didn't want to play in that game. I asked to go home that day after our practice, and um, by the grace of God, I got an opportunity to play because I actually did not go to my team meeting because I was just so disappointed of how injured I was and how my body was hurting, and I just couldn't perform the way I wanted, and it just wasn't an understanding of that. It felt like at that time. And so right before that team, I missed our night before a team meeting because I just needed a mental break, just to just get my mind right. And you miss a team meeting, you don't play. But for some reason, I got the opportunity to still start and play. And I fast forward to that first quarter. If you just kind of, if you're thinking about this Cotton Bowl, it started off those first couple of drives. You know, you don't know what type of game that's going to be. You got Chase. He's throwing the ball. He's selling the ball over because of the wind. I'm getting tackled by one, two, one guy at a time, and falling over. And I remember coming off the field on the second drive, and without the walk-on earned scholarship Tommy Saunders coming into my ear asking me, "What's going on? What are you doing?" He knew me as my roommate at the time. I don't know how that day would have went. He challenged me. He said, first, he knew how to pique my interest. He said, "Tony, I know, it's important for you to get 1,000 yards." He said, "You still can do it. Just get 200 yards, get 1,000 yards." I'm like, whatever. But he was like, "Come on." He was like, "We need you, and we need you to step up." And just his care, his concern, his love for me, it did something for me. And I say that next drive is when right behind Colin Brown at the time, Curtis Gregory, I scored a 40-yard touchdown. And that just woke me up. I just knew that moment I needed to be there for my team. It was our last game. And, you know, 200, I would say 240 yards later, we have the game pretty much won. And surprisingly, I tweaked my hamstring. Just, I would say dehydration and just so much running. But I tweaked my hamstring. I was done. I was ready to, take it away and just, sell into the win with our W. And I'm getting stretched out, and Coach Hinkle yells in my ear. He says, "Tony," he said, "you're 40 yards away from breaking the Cotton Bowl record. Do you want to go in? And if you do, you do not go in there and hurt the team. So you better, are you healthy enough? Are you healthy enough to go in?" And he said, so he walks away. He's like, "Think about it." And thought shortly about it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I can go for it. And so so we're sitting together, it's fourth quarter, and he's like, "All right, Tuffle's about to go for the record. We just need 4 first downs. And we'll take our time. We'll get these 40 yards. We're gonna feed them, and we're gonna get it. And Tommy comes. He's like, Tony, just 10 yards. Just keep doing it. And I look at Tommy, look him in his eyes. I said, I have one play.
Oh man!
And
That rhino right is called. I veer to the right and break through so easily, like it was all day. And I do a spin move, about to fall down. J Ray jumps over me, Jason Ray at the time, and I fall into the end zone, and it was just amazing. I think about having the ball high and tight, just making sure ball security's there, and um, opening up my eyes because I'm in pain because I tore my hamstring on the 15-yard line going in, and just having all of my teammates just hit me, lift me up, hearing the crowd. And I remember I tried to walk off, and Chase and Ty Lue, they look at me and say, "Are you okay?" And I'm trying my best to jog off, and I can't. I have nothing left. And that was the iconic moment where they picked me up. And I mean, people talk about that. That to me is the definition of our team. That was our '07. From the performance, from the selflessness of our team and not caring. I think about J Mac. He had an opportunity to break the all-time record for yards. T Ruck had the opportunity for receptions. And so just all of that removed, to have someone like me who was a running back at that time, only had 800 yards at the time, breaking 1,000 yards, being one of the first running backs to have back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and then obviously breaking the Cotton Bowl record, which put me in the Hall of Fame there. It was just such a moment of aha, like I got it. This is what it takes to be a teammate. This is what it takes to be a leader when the time is there. And it was just such an accumulation of just so many eye-opening things for me. And I just am so thankful for my teammates. I'm so thankful for my coaches, and just knowing me as a player, and just understanding the mental ups and downs that you go through, and even physically too. And then knowing that any day it could be a performance from somebody you just don't know. So, what a cool experience that was. And again, we deserve that. We deserve beating an Arkansas team the way we did. We deserve beating that Arkansas team who beat LSU that year, who went on to win the national championship, to kind of show our dominance. We deserve to get the recognition that it's time for us to move to the SEC after that because of that. And so all of that, all of the things that we were so sad about and bummed out about, it came full circle for us. And that's why that '07 class, we'll never forget each other. We love each other to this day. We still talk about to each other. And a lot of those teammates are very successful in their business as family men. So many things were learned and processed and taken in that whole entire season that we were in. And it was an unforgettable experience for Missouri. And I think about the fans that talk about it. I don't get tired of it because it was unbelievable. It was exactly what Mizzou fans deserved for so many years, to come on top the way they did, to have us enter into a national record books with a Hall of Fame record being broke with a prestigious bowl game. And I'm just so glad and happy that I had the opportunity to just have a little piece of that history and what we did in that '07 season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's an amazing personal story you shared there, and I appreciate that. I knew that you were having a hard time with injuries toward the end of the season, but I didn't realize it built up that much for you. So, yeah, it's what, sometimes divine providence, things happen for a reason, and obviously the things happen to allow you to play in that game, and look what happened, right? And we all benefited from it, and you took something away from that, and it's just an amazing life experience. So obviously appreciate you sharing that story. I am going to try and pull up a couple highlights from that game. We'll see. Bear with me, I am obviously not the tech wizard here, so we'll see if this is going to work.
No worries.
All right. Okay, let's see if we can make this work here. I think what you're going to see here is the first couple of touchdowns, right?
Sweet.
So we'll listen to the video, then you can tell me about it afterward, okay?
Of course.
Offset to the right, Daniel on first down. Running left is Tony. Bounces it inside, breaks a tackle to 20, gets to the 15, left sideline to the 10, to the 5, puts the shoulder down, into the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri, on a terrific run by Tony Temple, the senior from Rockhurst High School in Kansas City. And Missouri strikes first here in the 72nd Cotton Bowl.
Pointing downfield, there's your guy Tommy blocking for you.
I'll tell you what, there was excellent blocking on that left side. There had to be with Adam Speaker, Madison, and Tyler Llewellyn on.
All right, so talk about that play then a little bit.
That was it. That was the beginning of it. You got to really think about who we were going against. We're going against Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, arguably the top 3 running backs in the nation just on one team right there. And, all week hearing about them, going what we're going through, having that emotional mental health battle that I'm dealing with as an athlete and my role on this team and what am I going to bring to the table. And then again, seeing a great illustration of what we've talked about. You got a wide receiver, a walk-on earned scholarship wide receiver, and Tommy Saunders blocking his tail off down the field. You got linemen running as fast as they can and moving down the field, making hallway holes for me. And then, that was the start. That was such a big moment. It being the way it happened, that was just such a big moment to define what that day was going to look like. And, having that first touchdown, having that kickoff, it was almost like a relief for me personally, where I can get into that zone of what people talked about. So this was the beginning of getting into the zone.
Well, there you go. And then I think we're going to see the second touchdown here. Hopefully that plays.
Missouri from the Arkansas 5. Macklin in motion to the right side. Daniel hands to Temple running left. He stiff arms a man at the 3. Dives across the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri. His second rushing touchdown of the half. Well, why not give the ball to the senior from Rockhurst? He's the man that brought you downfield, John Cadillac.
Yeah, he is. And I'll tell you what, that left tackle, Tyler Llewellyn, really doing a nice job staying with his man. Excellent job. And Adam Speakers cutting off the middle.
Yeah, created a nice hole for you, and you bounce it out there. Tell us about that run.
Well, there's a reason why during my Hall of Fame speech, I listed every single one of my linemen on my team. I think if we have anything that we don't talk about or acknowledge the way it should be, is that offensive line. And it's even me hitting the ground. That's who you saw. That's who you saw pick me up. You saw how excited they were, how they were pumping me up that whole entire game. But that offensive line was our hidden gem. That was our rock. They were just amazing. I mean, what a great group of guys. As a running back, that's something that we pride ourselves as having a great relationship with your offensive line. And those boys were amazing. They were just a great group of athletes, just true athletes, being able to work with a spread, be able to put their hand to the ground and move people out of the way for our run game when we need it. That was a very powerful group. And again, another great illustration of what that looks like, of having just your O-line support you as a running back. You talk about getting, excited or getting motivated. That motivated me right there to know my boys, my hogs is what we call them, that were down and dirty for us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to try to play another one here for you. Let's see if this goes
The offensive line this half has done a great job
with trips to the right.
Third touchdown here.
To the left. Temple offset to the right of Daniel on his 3rd down and 1. Hands to Tony running left. Breaks a tackle at the 3. Skips into the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the ball game.
Well, he broke the tackle at about the 4-yard line. They just went right on in there.
Broke the tackle of Kevin Woods. Marcus Harrison shaken up on the play. The left tackle for Arkansas. And Missouri breaks on top 20-0 with 13:38 to play. Tigers.
So we were feeling it then. We all kind of knew that. All right.
Yeah, that was a special one. And that was also personal. You'll see it in that clip, Will Franklin, St. Louis, my guy comes in. He's in my 04 class. And I score and I slap him right on his helmet. And he was one of those guys that would get in your face if you weren't brought in and you weren't focused. And he was one of the guys that even in that week, the night before the game, where I was telling him I'm done, and he was like, Temple, what are you doing? And but still would have your back and go as hard as he could for you. And so when I scored that touchdown, he was there. That look, that eye contact that we made, that slapped his helmet. That was we're locked in. And I got you, brother. Thank you, brother, for being there for me. And I'm here to win with you. And so that was a moment right there for us that I'm so glad that happened, because he was a competitor. He was one of the ultimate competitors and a very unselfish player, like you would find all up and down our team, whether it was helping Demario, J-Mac, you name it, and obviously his running backs, making sure they get in the end zone.
All right, well, we're going to take a look at this last one here, the one where you had one play in you and needed about 40 yards, and here was the result.
40. Temple running left, takes the handoff, cuts it back right to the 35, to the 30, spinning inside the 20. His feet
right there,
perhaps to the 10, to the 5.
Is that the hamstring right there?
Touchdown. Record.
Oh, Mike, what a day for Cody Temple.
What a run now. He pulled up a little at the end of that run. I hope he didn't aggravate it too seriously, because he pulled up, and I'll tell you what, he won't feel too much pain. He's helped up by his teammates and is limping noticeably. But, folks, he's done now. He's got the Cotton Bowl rushing record and another touchdown, 4 on the ground, another Cotton Bowl record as he limps to the sideline and is carried off.
Tony Temple being carried off the field by Chase Daniel, and also one of the Mizzou offensive linemen.
It's so funny. Mike Kelly's call, he couldn't tell who the lineman was because the number was obscured. Chase got all the credit. Like, he hardly did a damn thing. He put his arm out there. That's about it. Give him grief to that. Give him grief about that to this day.
Yeah, Ty Lue does too. Ty is like, that was me out there too. Ty Lue again, just, what a just a great moment. And again, just accumulation for Mizzou football. I just happened to be the actor in that situation that was able to host a performance like that. But all credit goes to that O-line. And from the first touchdown to the 4th touchdown, you see that O-line celebrating the work that they did that day. And then just obviously just getting me off the ground the fast as they can, not showing any weakness, and, just celebrating with me. And I'm just so excited, not only for our teammates, the organization, our fans. Wow, just talk about great moments for so many people that were there that day and that was involved. And it was an unforgettable time.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you out of here. Just a couple more questions. We can wrap this up. But again, thank you for taking the time, Tony. It's been a lot of fun catching up and sharing some memories. But you'd mentioned this, and I wanted to get into it just real quick. A very cool thing happened for you in 2023. You got selected and inducted into the Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame. So, and I want to encourage people, if you go on YouTube, Tony's speech was just lights out. It was such a great speech. And it's available on YouTube. If you just go on YouTube and search Tony Temple Cotton Bowl Hall of Fame speech, something like that, you can find it. But highly recommend Tiger fans to go watch that, because it was really well done. And I was so proud of you for that. What was that experience like, being recognized like that? That had to be quite a deal for you.
Well, I'll say this: when you're 15 plus years removed from playing ball, running a football, you get a lot of time to reflect and, really sit in some of those moments. And I truly believe, to raise a child or to help anyone, it takes a village. And that is what I experienced my whole career in sports. It's a true village to be able to help me um, get through my career, get through life. And now having children of my own, um, having them being able to share that moment with them was probably one of the most incredible moments of my whole entire playing days, is having them be able to see the work that my family put in, I put in personally, all my teammates that ever played with me, all my coaches that ever coached me. I think it was just so powerful for them to get recognized more than anything. And I can't mention not having my Hall of Fame coach with Coach Pinkel there, having us side by side with each other, made it also so special. Coach Pinkel's a great person, great man, and he truly cares about his players. He's not playing. When you text him, he'll hit you up 24 hours and less and make sure, he'll reach out to you. So, that experience was cool. Meeting Eli Manning, Archie, and just some of my colleagues that entered with me there, it was it was unbelievable. And again, just paying homage to those people that helped support me, that were there every single game. That's what that was about for me. You don't get too many moments, when you get older, to have a national spotlight on you. And if I can highlight people like my offensive linemen, the people that I love and care about to this day, that's what it's all about for me. So I was just blessed to have that space and opportunity, and it was cool. My kids, they like my Hall of Fame. That picture behind me is her painting of that day that she made
how
for me
cool.
on Father's Day, and you can see the Hall of Fame trophy behind there too as well. And that is just something for them. As you get a little bit older, it's just really to share with your kids, just to give them a reminder of what hard work does. I support my kids, whatever activity, whatever art, everything, anything they want to do, and just to let them know, having a good mental attitude for it, and just having the work ethic, things will pay off. So that was just a great signature to show what that looks like.
You bet. Well, I know the new football season is about here. Thank goodness. All of us football fans are really looking forward to it, especially with all the changes in college football this year. It's going to be real exciting. And will you get a chance to come in to see the Tigers play at all?
I will. Atia, who was a former player as well on our Mizzou teams, he just invited me to the home opener. I'll be there to hit the
Nice.
big mo. I'll be beating on the drum, getting the crowd hyped up on that home opener, and
Nice.
I'll try my best. We had a great season last year, and it was so much fun to watch. The Codys, the Luthers, and the Bradys. It was so fun to watch, and I'm looking forward this year. I know how it feels to want more, and I think this team is hungry and it wants more. And so this is just an exciting time to be a Mizzou fan. And this team, they feed off of that energy. We're an SEC school now. We have an SEC stadium, and we got to bring that energy as much as we possibly can. So it's amazing being alumni, being accepted, seeing the change, seeing the growth, and just people just remembering us. And so I'm excited to get back for a couple games. I'll be there for the home opener, and hopefully everyone else will be there too.
Oh yeah, can't wait, man! It's going to be a lot of fun. Look forward to seeing you there, and you'll get a chance to get the crowd all fired up, hitting on Big Mo. So that'll be fun to see. Well, Tony, I've took a lot of your time, and it's been fun catching up, like I said. So thank you so much for taking the time to visit, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Columbia, and we'll catch you soon. All right, my friend?
Thank you. And thank you, Chad. I don't know if people know the role that you played, but you were a great point of contact. You helped us navigate all of our media, all of the press. You knew how to keep people away from us when we weren't having it. And you did such a great job, on and off season. I remember doing commercials with you and just making sure we had the recognition, making us feel proud to be a Mizzou Tiger. I just thank you so much. You were a great person to work with when it came to the media, and you taught us a lot. And so thank you so much for your service to the university and to Mizzou football and sports. I know personally I had a great relationship with you when I was a player and even outside as a player. And I just want to personally thank you so much for everything you've done.
Wow, brother. That means a lot to me. You trying to make me cry or something here? I need to sign off before I start crying. But no, that means a ton. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure, and had a lot of great memories, and it's been fun talking about them, and we'll make some more going forward, I'm sure. So, all right, my friend. Hey, thanks again. Take care. And Tiger fans, look for Tony Temple at the home opener against Murray State next Thursday. Pounding the drum, getting you all fired up. Here we go. It's football season, baby. Let's go.
Football season. Get ready. Thank you, Rock M Radio. I appreciate you having me. Thanks.
You got it. Thanks, buddy. Catch you later.
You too.
Well, that's going to do it for episode number 7 of the Mo Show on Rock M Radio. I hope you enjoyed the visit with Tony Temple. Had a great time catching up with him. He shared some real interesting insight and some stuff that most Tiger fans probably weren't aware of, specifically leading up to the Cotton Bowl and his injury situation. So really appreciate him opening up and sharing some of that stuff, and I hope you did too. Well, again, that's it for episode number 7. I'll be back soon with episode number 8, so be sure to look for that one on Rock M Radio, wherever you get this podcast. Thanks for joining. Grace and peace, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.